Are you an aspiring fashion designer or someone interested in the garment industry? Have you ever heard of a technical flat garment sketch? In this video, we're going to be exploring what a technical flat garment sketch looks like in the fashion industry, and you'll understand exactly how it's used. A technical flat garment sketch is where the product creation begins. It's that first idea that gets put to paper by the designer. Without this garment sketch, the design would not come to fruition. The technical flat garment sketch I'm sharing in today's video can be downloaded for free through the description below. I want you to download it and follow along with me, making any notes. I created this technical garment sketch for the fashion design book, and this video helps go into more depth about it. Technical flat garment sketches are used in the garment industry throughout the product creation cycle. And the flat sketch for technical use shows how the garment should be constructed. Every brand has their own name for a technical flat sketch. Different names could include a technical sketch, a tech pack sketch, garment sketch, or technical flat. Every garment company has their own name for this, and it could be any variation of those. Who uses a technical sketch? Well, it's not only the designers, it's also the designers use it to communicate to the product development team or the pattern makers or technical designers to help start that product creation cycle. Material developers might use it, factories use it, pattern makers at the factories use it, salesmen, merchandisers, and buyers. There are so many different parts in using this flat sketch. That's why it's so important. To understand that entire flow, I do have another video to explain that process. Let's go into all the details that are on a technical flat sketch. Top stitching, trims like buttons or zippers, close-up images. That could be either drawings or photos of competitor samples. And anything else the designer wants to communicate. In case some of this terminology isn't clear to you, you can look through the fashion design book and see the sketches along with the vocabulary in there. When you see the vocabulary next to the sketch, a lot of the times that will make sense about what these terms are. The book is used not only for making flat garment sketches, but it's also a great reference for vocabulary and terminology. Let's go over those intricacies that are on the technical flat garment sketch that you would find in the garment industry. The types of details that we need to call out on this technical flat sketch is any sort of styling details like top stitching or cuffs, any sort of loops or straps. The way the garment is worn can also be showcased, especially if the garment should be shipped like that. Any sort of shipping details that are not normal, like if you wanted the garment cuff in shipping. We also have things like the collar or snap details, the roundness of the cuff, and you can see that we have the back view and the front view. Then we have close-ups of things that are very difficult to see. So these would be close-ups of the areas that are a little bit hard to fully understand from the full sketch. And what's on this document is the same across most brands. So what does the process look like? A designer does the technical flat sketch, and then they pass it on to the developer, pattern maker, or technical designer in the company. The pattern maker, technical designer, and developer will look at the garment sketch to see, is everything called out? Do I need to add any more details or writing on there? Usually the developer handles that part and they own the sketch once the designer hands it over to them. Then if there are any sort of pattern making questions, let's say we have the front and the back and we have a design line that doesn't really match on the side seam because there's no side view. That would be a thing that the pattern maker might bring up to the designer. If things are not quite matching up, maybe the cuff height is different in the front than in the back. That would be something that's not really possible generally. So that would be something that the sketch needs to reflect what's possible in the garment. It's up to the pattern maker or technical designer and developer to bring up any topics that are not feasible in the creation of that product. This happens during the handover from design to those product creation team members. Once the developer, pattern maker, and technical designer fully understand the vision that the designer wants to achieve, then they proceed in giving the factory instructions on the construction of the garment or workmanship, and the pattern maker will start creating the pattern, or the technical designer will give any sort of measurement details to the factory for them to make the pattern. Generally, these sketches are always black and white. The reason why they're black and white, number one, is so that they're clearly visible for the factories. This sketch will be photocopied many times. It will be printed out. Most factories only print in black and white. And if this was colored and printed on a black and white printer, it won't be very visible. The reason why the factories are printing this is because this exact document, along with any measurements, will go through the production line. It first goes through the sample room to make sure that the sample is created to all of the specifications listed. And then once it gets through the sample process, it goes into the production line. In that production line, this document is at the end of the production line, and the quality control is checking to make sure everything was achieved. Generally, this document is created in Adobe Illustrator or in a 3D software. 3D is becoming bigger and bigger in the garment industry, and it is amazing what that software can create. So more and more companies are creating these images with 3D softwares, and you can go ahead and download this as a free guide, as a PDF and an Illustrator file in case you want to make your own tech pack sketch. Don't forget to download that free technical flat sketch so that you can reference it for the future. If you're looking to practice drawing flat garment sketches and broaden your industry terminology, then you should refer to the Fashion Design book. The book includes an entire library of silhouettes and fashion design details, and there are so many QR codes that are linked to videos just like this. You can find a link to purchase your book through the description below. I'm Gina Renee, and I teach online pattern making and design courses so that you can design clothes you love that fit. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.